Dan Blocker, the beloved star of Bonanza, is remembered as a gentle giant who brought warmth, humor, and authenticity to the screen. Yet, behind the charm and iconic performances, there was a side of Blocker that very few knew, a side that involved tension, conflict, and even outright dislike for a particular individual in Hollywood. This revelation may surprise fans who have long admired him as a kind-hearted and generous figure. But those close to the industry insist it's true. There was one actor Dan Blocker truly could not stand. The story behind this animosity is as fascinating as it is little known. It's not about fleeting disagreements or competition for roles. It stems from deep, personal frustration, clashing personalities, and a sense of professional betrayal. Blocker, who valued respect, loyalty, and a collaborative spirit, found these qualities lacking in this one individual, leading to a level of disdain that he did not hide from friends and colleagues. For years, those around Blocker noticed the tension. While he was patient and professional on camera, behind the scenes, his frustration was evident. Private conversations, insider accounts, and anecdotes from cast members reveal a man who felt his principles and integrity were challenged, and someone he could not trust or work with again. The story provides an intimate glimpse into the complexities of Blocker's personality, showing that even someone as affable and beloved as he could harbor strong opinions and emotions about people who crossed the line. Who was the actor that earned Dan Blocker's lasting disapproval? And what exactly led to this profound animosity? The answer exposes the often hidden struggles, rivalries, and human imperfections behind the glittering world of Hollywood, revealing a side of Blocker few have ever seen. This is the untold story of conflict, principle, and the complicated dynamics that shaped one of television's most iconic stars. Dan Blocker, the towering presence on Bonanza, is remembered as a figure of warmth, humor, and generosity, a man whose portrayal of Hoss Cartwright brought comfort and laughter to millions of viewers. Off-screen, he was known as kind, approachable, and deeply loyal to those he trusted. Yet behind this affable exterior lay a side of Blocker that few ever glimpsed, a side shaped by his strong principles, his dedication to professionalism, and an unyielding sense of personal integrity. For Blocker, respect was non-negotiable, and anyone who failed to meet his standards quickly found themselves in his disfavor. Insiders have revealed that there was one actor in Hollywood who, over time, earned Dan Blocker's lasting dislike. This wasn't a matter of petty jealousy or a momentary clash of personalities. Instead, it grew out of repeated incidents that Blocker found intolerable, behaviors that undermined collaboration, tested his patience, and violated the trust he placed in colleagues. While Blocker was known for his patience and gentle nature, he also had clear boundaries and a keen understanding of who he could work with and who he could not. When those boundaries were crossed, he did not hesitate to let his disapproval be known to those around him, even if he never confronted the person directly in public. The origins of this animosity trace back to the pressures and realities of Hollywood in the 1960s and 1970s, when the industry was both highly competitive and intensely scrutinized. Actors relied not only on talent, but on professionalism, respect, and the ability to collaborate under long hours, tight schedules, and high expectations. Dan Blocker, whose work ethic was legendary, expected those around him to uphold similar standards. According to those who observed the dynamic firsthand, this particular actor repeatedly demonstrated behavior that Blocker found disruptive, disrespectful, and incompatible with the environment he valued. It was not a single incident, but a series of actions that compounded over time, ultimately creating a rift Blocker could not ignore. Colleagues who witnessed the tension describe a man who struggled internally with the situation. Blocker preferred to avoid confrontation whenever possible, valuing peace and cooperation. But he was also decisive when necessary. Friends recount private conversations in which Blocker expressed frustration and bewilderment at the other actor's behavior, noting that it violated the unspoken code of professionalism he held dear. While he maintained his warmth and humor publicly, behind closed doors, he did not hide his disdain for the person who repeatedly tested his patience. This episode offers a rare glimpse into the complexities of Dan Blocker's character. He was not someone to hold grudges lightly. Yet he understood the importance of protecting his principles and the integrity of his work environment. His refusal to condone unprofessional behavior illustrates a side of him that many fans never knew: a man capable of strong emotions and unwavering standards, even when it involved someone else in his field. It was this combination of gentleness and firmness that defined Blocker both as a performer and as a person. As we explore the story further, it becomes evident that Dan Blocker's dislike for this actor was not simply personal. It was rooted in the high standards he applied to every aspect of his career. He valued trust, respect, and collaboration, and when he felt those values were being compromised, he did not hesitate to act, even if it meant creating tension or ending professional interactions. This decision, while difficult, reflects a man who lived by principle and who demanded the same commitment from those around him, a lesson about integrity, professionalism, and the human side of Hollywood that rarely makes it to the public eye. The tension between Dan Blocker and this particular actor did not arise overnight. According to insiders, it developed gradually, fueled by repeated conflicts and differences in work ethic and approach. On the set of various productions, Blocker was known for his commitment to punctuality, preparedness, and collaboration. He understood that a successful project required more than talent. It demanded discipline, focus, and mutual respect among all cast and crew members. When he encountered someone who consistently fell short of these expectations, it challenged his sense of fairness and jeopardized the harmony he sought to maintain. Blocker's frustration was compounded by the other actors' behavior, which, according to accounts, ranged from arrogance and disregard for schedules to outright dismissiveness of fellow actors' contributions. These actions created tension not only with Blocker, but also with other members of the production team. While many might have overlooked such behavior, Blocker's personality demanded accountability. He did not see it as acceptable for anyone to undermine the collective effort or the integrity of the work. Over time, these repeated offenses solidified his perception that this individual was someone he could not trust professionally or personally. Despite his growing animosity, Blocker handled the situation with a level of composure that reflected his character. He avoided public confrontations and refrained from creating scandals, preferring instead to voice his disapproval privately to trusted colleagues and friends. These candid conversations revealed his disappointment and exasperation. As he grappled with how to maintain professionalism while dealing with behavior he found unacceptable, sources suggest that his decision to distance himself from this actor in future projects was deliberate and considered an assertion of principle rather than a spur-of-the-moment reaction. The situation also illuminates a side of Blocker rarely discussed: his unwavering commitment to ethical conduct and standards. He understood that talent alone could not guarantee success or harmony on set. Respect, reliability, and a willingness to collaborate were equally crucial. When these elements were absent, Blocker's patience ran thin. His dislike for this actor was therefore grounded not in personal vendetta, but in a principled stance. He refused to engage with someone whose presence threatened the integrity of his work and the environment in which he thrived. For many fans, it may be difficult to reconcile this revelation with the gentle, humorous persona they associate with Dan Blocker. Yet those who knew him personally insist that this duality was part of his charm: a man capable of immense warmth and kindness, yet also capable of setting firm boundaries when necessary. He demonstrated that being respected, admired, and approachable does not mean tolerating repeated unprofessional behavior. On the contrary, it underscores a deeper strength, one that values fairness, accountability, and the well-being of everyone involved in a project. Interestingly, the actor in question remained largely oblivious to the depth of Blocker's disdain. While Blocker did express disapproval in private, he avoided direct confrontation that could escalate into conflict. This approach reflects his wisdom and emotional intelligence. He understood that some battles are best addressed quietly, and that public disputes often cause more harm than good. In doing so, he maintained his reputation as a professional and a gentleman, even while harboring strong negative feelings. This story provides a rare glimpse into the realities of working in Hollywood during Blocker's era. It highlights the pressures, the interpersonal challenges, and the high stakes involved in creating successful productions. More importantly, it showcases Dan Blocker's character, a man who balanced kindness and humor with integrity, who refused to compromise on principles, and who understood that professionalism often requires difficult choices. His lasting dislike for this actor is a testament to the seriousness with which he approached his work, as well as the depth of his commitment to fairness and respect on set. The tension between Dan Blocker and this actor offers a unique insight into the often hidden challenges of Hollywood life. While fans primarily remember Blocker for his warmth, humor, and iconic portrayal of Hoss Cartwright on Bonanza, the reality behind the cameras was far more complex. Actors work long hours in high-pressure environments, and the dynamics between colleagues can make or break a production. For Blocker, who took pride in both his performance and his professionalism, working alongside someone who repeatedly disrupted this balance was intolerable. Those who worked with him recall how dedicated he was to creating a positive and cooperative set. He was the kind of actor who remembered everyone's names, respected the work of the crew, and went out of his way to ensure that scenes flowed smoothly. This dedication meant that he had little patience for those who did not share the same values. The actor in question, with their repeated disregard for schedules, scripts, and the collaborative nature of filmmaking, directly challenged the standards that Blocker held dear. Over time, this friction intensified, turning a professional annoyance into something far deeper, genuine dislike. Interestingly, Blocker's animosity was never fueled by personal jealousy or rivalry. In fact, colleagues stressed that he was not competitive in the typical sense. He did not covet roles, awards, or recognition. What mattered to him was respect for the craft, respect for fellow actors, and respect for the team as a whole. When he encountered behavior that violated these expectations, it struck a nerve. What might have seemed trivial to outsiders, the failure to rehearse properly, inconsiderate conduct on set, or dismissive remarks, was, to Blocker, a sign that someone did not value the collective effort. Another element that contributed to his dislike was the repeated nature of the incidents. While one or two lapses could be forgiven, the pattern indicated a fundamental incompatibility in work ethic and principles. Blocker believed that consistency, reliability, and respect were essential for any successful collaboration. The repeated offenses left him with little choice but to distance himself from the individual in question. His decision was a calculated, deliberate act, a way of preserving his own integrity and ensuring that his future projects would maintain the professional standards he valued so highly. It is important to note that Blocker's dislike did not prevent him from remaining cordial in public. He understood the optics of Hollywood, and he maintained a reputation as approachable, friendly, and professional. His disdain was expressed privately, shared in conversations with close friends and colleagues who understood the reasons behind it. This discretion reflects another key aspect of his character. He could feel strongly about a situation without creating unnecessary drama or conflict, demonstrating a rare combination of emotional intelligence and integrity. This situation also illustrates the challenges faced by actors who value principles over convenience. In an industry where networking and relationships are crucial, refusing to collaborate with someone can be a risky decision. Yet for Dan Blocker, maintaining his standards and protecting his professional environment was far more important than appeasing difficult colleagues. His actions reveal a side of Hollywood that often goes unseen, a world where interpersonal dynamics and personal values intersect, and where integrity sometimes requires difficult choices. Ultimately, this story sheds light not just on the actor he despised, but on the man himself. Dan Blocker was a complex figure, affable, humorous, and beloved on screen, yet principled, discerning, and unafraid to take a stand when necessary. His lasting dislike for this individual serves as a reminder that even the kindest people have limits, and that true professionalism is about more than talent. It is about respect, consistency, and the courage to act when those values are threatened. Dan Blocker's strong feelings toward this actor ultimately reflect a broader truth about his approach to both life and work. While audiences loved him for his gentle, warm, and humorous on-screen persona, those who knew him personally understood that he was a man of principle. He took his craft seriously, valued collaboration, and expected professionalism in every interaction. When these standards were not met, Blocker did not hesitate to take a stand even if it meant harboring strong negative feelings toward someone he worked with. The situation also highlights how high the stakes can be in the world of television and film. Productions rely on coordination, trust, and mutual respect, and any disruption can have significant consequences. Blocker's insistence on these values wasn't about ego. It was about preserving the quality of the work and maintaining an environment where creativity could flourish. To him, repeated breaches of conduct were more than annoying, they threatened the very integrity of the project. In this light, his dislike was less personal animosity and more a principled stance, a reflection of his commitment to the craft and to the people who worked alongside him. Professionally, colleagues who witnessed the tension describe a man torn between his naturally kind demeanor and his frustration with repeated, unprofessional behavior. Blocker was not one to lash out or create drama. He preferred quiet resolution whenever possible. Yet, the consistent issues with this particular actor forced him to set clear boundaries. By choosing not to work with this individual in the future, Blocker demonstrated that integrity and respect were non-negotiable. It was a decision rooted in wisdom, self-respect, and a deep understanding of what makes collaboration successful. In the demanding world of entertainment, fans often find it surprising that someone as amiable as Blocker could harbor such strong negative feelings. However, this story offers a vital perspective. Even the kindest, most generous people have limits. What made Blocker exceptional was his ability to balance empathy and warmth with discernment and courage. He could maintain his humor and affability while privately asserting boundaries that protected his values, his work, and the people around him. In doing so, he upheld standards that benefited not only himself, but the entire team he collaborated with. The lessons from this story extend beyond Hollywood. They speak to the importance of setting boundaries, valuing professionalism, and recognizing when repeated patterns of disrespect or disruption are harmful. Dan Blocker's approach demonstrates that true integrity involves making tough decisions, even when it is easier to ignore issues or appease others. He understood that tolerance has limits, and that protecting the quality of one's work and the well-being of colleagues sometimes requires difficult choices. Ultimately, the story of the actor Dan Blocker truly hated reveals both the challenges of Hollywood and the strength of Blocker's character. He was a man who could bring laughter, warmth, and kindness to millions, yet also recognize when someone's presence threatened the harmony and professionalism he cherished. His decision to distance himself from this individual is a testament to his principles, his commitment to quality, and his unwavering dedication to creating environments where respect and collaboration flourish. It reminds us that even the most gentle and beloved figures can be firm when it comes to defending what they value most, leaving a legacy defined not only by talent, but by integrity and courage.